Hello. It is Dr. Melissa Simmons, and we are here on the Girl Bossed Up the podcast. Yes, this is episode 7. I always say I'm excited, but I am. I think this is such a privilege and an honor and a personal passion of mine to be given this opportunity to do a podcast for Girl Bossed Up. So, again, my excitement is true and it's real and it's honest. And just to let you know, once again, our goal and purpose is to mentor, motivate, and move you closer to fulfilling your dreams, goals, and desires using the talents that God has blessed you with. So that is the purpose of this podcast. And I am going to continue to do what we do every time we meet. Is first going to talk about what is trending. We have right now, we just finished Labor Day, and we have a couple of things trending right now. First, I want to talk about back to school. Back to school. It is all mostly today teachers arrived back in school. So teachers, this is their first day. They got to, unless they snuck in and got to go to their class last week or the week before, they had training, they might have been in the building. But this is pretty much around the country where students are starting, at least in the Northeast, we start after Labor Day. And I know there was a lot of word going back and forth that a lot of people think we need to stop the summer break and just go to school. I think people are saying just go to school throughout the year and then you have breaks, like 6-week breaks here and there. People believe that if you do that, that will allow learning loss to subside, because there is a definite proven fact that when kids leave in June, when they come back in September, they have lost some of the information, some key parts of learning that happened the year before. So a lot of the first few days, if not weeks, is refreshing students on what they last learned. So there is a movement out there to maybe go to full-time school year round, and maybe have different breaks, like a month here, a month there, as opposed to a 2-month break, because that seems to add to the learning loss that a lot of students do experience. Okay, so I have to be honest, when I saw the back to school stuff in Walmart and Target and all those places, I got excited because I didn't have to buy any. I do not miss the whole back to school purchase supplies. I don't miss it at all. I don't miss it. Thank God my children. The other day, CJ came in and said, "Do you have an extra notebook I could use?" I was like, "Huh? Notebook?" And I remember I used to have like a bin of all of the school supplies, so that anytime my kids needed school supplies, I had extra pencils, pens, crayons, markers, notebooks, folders, you name it. So I used to have this bin that I used to go to throughout the year because I would stock up. But I don't miss it. I don't miss it one bit. I am involved in the business consulting that I do. Most of my consulting is with school districts. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done. So I lend my expertise and advice on what needs to be done to open school. But that was pretty much all summer. Like, a lot of people have this false sense of people that work in schools are off in the summer. No. At least not administrators and the business office. Summer is usually our most busiest time of the year, because that's when we clean all the schools, do repairs, do major construction projects. That's when it happens. And the close of one year and the beginning of one year. So we do a lot of payment of vendors, closing out the books, and then we start back up. So we do a lot of purchases so that when school starts, the day of school starting, which is tomorrow, school supplies that are needed for teachers and students are there. So that's what happens over the summer in school districts, in the belly of the district, in the administrative business part of the business. That's what we do in the summer. So I had a busy summer. Although I'm retired, I'm still working with school districts, and I was helping the new CFOs and their teams to kind of get ready for the beginning of school. So I had a busy summer. So now kind of there's a lull. We see a lull, especially since we were there all summer. So so I'm excited about that. So back to school, I hope you as parents are in the grind already. There's so many, one of the things I do like, there's so many people out there giving away backpacks and school supplies. So if there's any need, just call your local church. I'm sure they could tell you who's doing that. You could even go to different businesses who have, I know my chiropractor, they was collecting school supplies. A lot of people doing school supply. Churches, local churches, a lot of them do that. So if there's any need, please go to your local church or call around to a couple of friends. I'm sure they could guide you the right way in order you could get supplies. All right. Next thing trending. Now, I love my sports. I love my women's sports. And I love the WNBA. Well, we have a little controversy going on. Hall of Famer Sheryl Swoopes was taking off of her announcement duties and was replaced this weekend with another legend, Nancy Lieberman, over some controversies stemming from comments she made about Caitlin Clark that goes back as far as February. And a lot of fans have been kind of, listening to her commentary during games that includes then in the Indiana Fever, that includes Caitlin Clark. And a lot of people saying that she's a little biased in that she's not a big fan. That's what it sounds like. That's what fans are saying. And she's not doing a fair commentary. Some have even accused her of not mentioning Caitlin Clark's name on when she's announcing or calling the game. And a lot of people are feeling that it is kind of biased what she's doing. I think the biggest thing that stemmed from it was there was a flagrant call during the game last, I believe it was this weekend, or a few days ago. I forget what day the game was on, but there was a flagrant call, and as opposed to, I guess, supporting and coming out against the flagrant call against Caitlin Clark, she in turn told the person that gave the foul, keep your chin up, because the person who gave the foul was also kind of being attacked on social media about the foul. Now, look, if you watch these games, these women, they ball. They play ball. They play basketball, okay? And they are tough. It's not an easy game. If you watch the Olympics, there was a lot of fouling going on. But the women play a hard game. And I think people appreciate that, because it isn't an easy, this is not just running up and down the court. They they come to win. So in all that, you're going to have a lot of flagrant fouls. Caitlin Clark has seen her share of it, and she's given her share of it. Let's be clear. It happens on both sides. She, to the point where I believe her numbers in terms of her given flagrant fouls are pretty high, as opposed to, and she gets a lot of them. She's one of the premier players. If you're a premier player, people are going up against you. She is a shooter. She's a guard. She has the ball. People are going after the ball, and games get emotional, and even sometimes not intentionally to hurt. But these women are tough, so they go for it, which I appreciate the game and what's going on. Now, according to the whole controversy, Nancy Lieberman, at least she was on the show with Stephen A. Smith. There we go. I didn't forget that one. And she kind of said that she clarified that actually Sheryl Swoopes in February kind of accused Caitlin Clark of using the extra year due to COVID to gain all of the numbers that she gained. And Nancy Lieberman corrected her on that, called her and said, no, she didn't take the extra year. She got all of her points from just doing 4 years in college. So she didn't have an extra year to gain the points. And guess what? That would have always been brought out. That being said, she was taken off of announcing the last game. Sheryl Swoopes, it is what it is. I think we need to kind of look at both sides. I think I understand to some point Sheryl Swoopes giving some flowers and some shine to other players, because Sometimes you think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are the only people playing the W. If you listen to some sportscasters and watch some of the ESPN, that's the only two people you kind of see. You see Asia Wilson every once in a while. She's the MVP of the league. So I do see the kind of slanted coverage that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese is getting in comparison to some of the phenomenal players that are out there. So I get that piece. So I think, hey, all of you announcers, you sportscasters, y'all need to be a little bit more fair. There's a great people playing the game, and you need to put the shine on all of them, and not just center your shine on two players. All right. So I understand where some of the push is coming from on Sheryl Swoopes' side. That being said, we need to always have, if you're announcing, if you're commentating on sports, I'm not a sports commentator, you should have your facts right. So I think facts always stand. And again, during the game, you got to love the game. You got to love the game and love the players. Not one, not two, but all. So let's get this right. Let's make sure we give the shine to everybody, everybody that deserves it in the W. Look, these are the most elite players in the world. All of them are. They will go toe-to-toe against anybody. That being said, let's give the shine to all of them. All right. That's what's trending. So let's go for our quote of the day. I was looking this up, and and it's going to kind of relate, it's going to relate to our talk today on the journal, on the Girl Boss Step journal. But I found this wonderful quote from Rupi Kaur. She is a Canadian poet, author, photographer, quite famous for some of the pictures and her commentary that she has made in the past. She believes in women and women's rights and the plight of women. So her quote is, "How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you." Love that one. How you love others teaches. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. I recently said that. Because too often we don't love ourselves the way we should. And I was speaking to one of the other things I do is coach women. And I was talking about how we do ourselves a disservice, meaning us women. We do ourselves a disservice. We don't promote ourselves the right way with enthusiasm. We sometimes give ourselves, we talk about ourselves in the negative. And sometimes we don't even give ourselves the credit we deserve based on our talent, our knowledge, and our ability to do things successfully. We sometimes appreciate when others do that, but we don't. But even if they do or don't, we don't often do it for ourselves. Whereas our male counterparts, they don't have a problem praising themselves if they deserve it. If they don't deserve it, they don't have a problem praising themselves a lot of times. And they don't have this stigma against themselves the way women do. And I say this because it's not often, but it is often enough where I hear women talking about themselves. Oh, that's so stupid. Why did I do that? Or, I'm so stupid. Oh, I don't look good today. You say you look pretty. Oh, I don't look pretty. Why we do that? Why do we fight the compliment? Why do we fight the blessing? Why do we fight the comment that we're good? I've seen that way too much, where we don't give ourselves the credit. And I get it. This is not promoting yourself. I'm not one to say I'm this, I'm that, in the sense where I'm building, where I am, let me say it right, where I am conceited and with an arrogant spirit saying something about myself. But what I have learned is to call and talk about myself, call out what I've done, and talk about myself positively. And in doing that, you show how others should treat you. how you represent yourself, and how you represent yourselves can show that you love yourself or you don't love yourself. And when others see how you treat yourself, they just jump on the bandwagon. Last week or a couple of weeks ago, when I had the podcast with Dr. Obi, we talked about we were people pleasers. She mentioned she was one, and I said I'm one also, a people pleaser. And people pleasers, we tend to give people more credit than they've earned. That they earned. I wouldn't say they didn't deserve it, but that they earned. And we're looking for their positive feedback on us. And what we get is pleasure when they praise what we've done for them, especially if we're seeking approval. And that's a lot of times some of the weaknesses, and I will say weaknesses of people pleasers. That being said, we don't often teach people how to love us properly either. And one thing I've learned is that I'm not a doormat. And I remember I heard somebody say this, and I can't remember who said it, but I used it since that point, is that I didn't sow what I just got. Meaning, if I sowed goodness into you, you have no right but to sow goodness back into me. If I sowed love into you, you have no right to sow nothing but love back into me. If I love, you don't sow hate. If I support, you don't sow jealousy. You get what I'm saying? If I stand up for you, you don't speak bad about me. You treat people how to treat you by accepting or not accepting their behavior towards you. It's not okay to have people not treat you well. But do you treat yourself well? Do they treat you the way they see you treating yourself? Let that one marinate just a moment. Just a moment. Let that one marinate. While that's marinating, let's take a break. Okay, welcome back to the Girl Bossed Up podcast. Once again, I'm Dr. Melissa Simmons, and we were just talking about the quote of the day. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. And I made you marinate on how do you treat yourself? How are you treating yourself? Again, I hope you receive something in that, because that includes a lot of things, but I'm not going to go into that right now, because let's go into our journal day. So, as you know, every time we meet, I'm going to go through the Girl Bossed Up 30-day journal. Again, if you put this in your browser, Girl Bossed Up, Bossed is BOSS apostrophe D, up, UP, 30-day journal, Amazon, it will come up. I did it, comes up right in my feed, and you could go right into Amazon and get the book if you want to follow with us. I encourage you to get the book. It is my 30-day journal on self-discovery, self-improvement, and self-realization. And this book, 30-day journal, took me about 5 years to do, okay? But I hope it takes you, I hope you take the time with it to really gain everything you can in this. But let's go to today. I'm going to day 5. Yes, I am. Okay, this is a big one. Self-love. That's the title of day 5. Girl Bossed Up, day 5. And I'm going to read what it says for this day. Self-love. This was a hard one for me. For far too long, I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't see beauty. But God helped me to see his beauty in me. That changed everything. Now I see my beauty all over, from my hair that is falling out, to my sagging boobs, to my 3 stomachs for my 3 children, to my knot knees, and finally to my size 12 feet. You have the ability to define your own beauty. I will never look like her, but she will never be me, and I love Melissa. What are the things about yourself that you need to embrace, change your perspective on, and begin to fall in love with yourself. Yep, this is a deep one. This is a deep one. So let's go back to what I just said. I learned to love myself. Now, unfortunately, when we talk about beauty, unfortunately for too many of us, beauty has been defined, that's been already defined to us. My generation, beauty was very specific in a sense where everybody wasn't beautiful. Just wasn't. Unfortunately, I had family members, let me just say that, tell me I wasn't beautiful. They didn't say you wasn't beautiful. I was called ugly many times as a child. That's not easy to overcome when the people that raise you and take care of you actually called you ugly. That was their definition when they saw you. So I was called ugly one too many times as a child. And as a small child, I remember it happening for a number of years. I was ugly. I was dark skinned. My hair was quote unquote nappy. I was fat. Um, my knees knocked. My hair wasn't good. I had let's figure out what to do with this nappy hair. You know, I remember all these different things. That unfortunately framed my understanding for a long time on what was beautiful. So I saw other people as being beautiful. If they were light skinned, oh my God, they're beautiful. If they had long hair, they were beautiful. Oh, forget it. If you had long, wavy, and curly hair, if you could take your hair and put it in, I remember as a kid, one of the things I wanted to do so badly was to take all of my hair and put it into a ponytail, one ponytail, and let it hang. That was my dream as a child. So what did we do? We used to wrap a t-shirt. I used to wrap a t-shirt around my head and put it and use, my scrunchie and put my head. That was how I made a ponytail. All of these different things. I remember I used to buy the fade cream. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. If you are of color around, as a matter of fact, this goes for a lot of ages, but if you're 50 years, you're between 60, probably more than that, but if you're around 65 to 35, you know what I'm talking about. There's a cream out there that can lighten your skin. We used to use that. I remember using that, trying to lighten my skin. And mind you, I was called the darkest of the three girls. It was three of us, and I was the darkest. I was the darkest according to people. So by the time I reached, oh my God, by the time I was a teenager, let's be honest, by the time I was a teenager, who and what I saw of myself did not equal to beauty. It did not equal to pretty. I don't ever remember anybody calling me pretty growing up. Ever. Ever. I think the first person to recognize me and thought I was attractive was my first boyfriend. And I remember he says, "You're so pretty." I go, "I'm so what?" And again, I discounted that from the beginning. He must want to have sex with me because I'm not pretty. That was what I thought. That was what I knew. You see, what you know sometimes is what you've been told or taught. Does not mean what you've been told or taught is right. What you know is what you've been told or taught, but it does not mean what you've been told or taught is right. So up to that moment or time in my life, I was taught that what I looked like was not beauty. What I looked like was not pretty. So when now men i.e., my boyfriend, started telling me that, I could not accept that. That went on to a few other men telling me that. Again, it didn't result in, all it resulted in was me kind of looking at them saying, yeah, right. Because it wasn't something I received. It wasn't something I was told I was. If you told me I had big boobs, I could date. I had big boobs, so I could deal with that one. I couldn't deal with the other ones in terms of beauty. So now I meet my husband to be, and he tells me, "You're so beautiful." Okay, this is going to be a hard one because once we started dating, once we started dating, it wasn't a long time after we started dating that we fell in love. So now I love this man. He loves me. And I'm thinking he loves me because he's pretty. I'm pretty to him because he loves me. I couldn't receive that he really thought I was pretty. And I struggled with that for a long time, for a very long time. In addition to struggling with that, um, I had issues, like I mentioned, with my hair, with my body type, with my body shape. I was a dancer. Yes, I was a dancer. But dance leaders literally looked at me and said, "You're not a dancer." I would never forget. I went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York. Pratt Institute is known for art, and my mom put me, because I loved dance so much. Over the summer, she enrolled me into their summer program for dance, and this was for dancers. And I never forgot the first day. We got in the classroom, and undoubtedly, I was probably the tallest and biggest woman there. Now, mind you, at the time, I was probably I hit 5'10" by seventh grade. So I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10", right? By seventh, eighth grade, I was 5'10". And I was probably a size 10, maybe 12. I was a young girl. So I was probably a size 10. But for other girls, that was big. Maybe 12. I would say 12. I would say 12. I wasn't a 10. I was probably a 12. But I come into this dance room, the dance leader, I went, everybody was sitting on the floor, everybody found a spot on the floor. So I went and found a spot on the floor, and I sat down, and it was in the front of the room. And he politely looked at me and said, "You don't belong up here. Go to the back." Oh, okay. So, woohoo, I got up and went to the back. Not the first time I heard something like that. Okay. I still learned my lesson the first time somebody told me I wasn't a dancer, but I didn't. Because there was something about what I did believe in myself. Let me back up. There was things I did believe in myself. I was very smart. I was very bright. I had a lot of wisdom, and I was a hard worker. No one could take that away from me. I was a straight A student. I could dance around anybody when it came to effort. Okay. But when it came to looks, that's what people would look at me and make a judgment call. So this is what this person did. And in my head, I don't know if I said it to myself, but my actions was, I can show you better than I could tell you. So even though he put me to the back of the room, and they had already, this is how slanted the program was. This is a whole summer program of elite dancers in Brooklyn, and they had already picked the lead for their summer finale. It was day one. How do you already pick the lead for the summer finale? But some of the ladies were already going to their program throughout the year. So I just came for the summer, but some of the ladies were already, or the young girls were already part of their program. I say all that to say is, at that moment, after he set me to the back, they had, like I said, they already knew who was leading. By middle of the summer, I'll never forget this. He said, "Melissa, come up here and show them how to do this." And didn't I show them how to do that dance? And maybe it was the next class. Guess who had the lead? And at the end of the program, guess who got Dancer of the Year? Yes, she did. Yes, Melissa did. Because like I said, I knew the qualities of myself. So people couldn't define my effort, my my tenacity, even my ability to dance. I didn't allow people to come against that. You challenge me, I'll show you. And I'm good for that. What I couldn't show them was who they saw. I couldn't show people who they saw. So when they gave me back who they were seeing, it just never lined up to it just never lined up and equaled pretty or beautiful. And it wasn't until I really got into the word of God years into my adulthood. I can't even tell you when, but years into my adulthood is when I started dealing with Melissa and who she was. I remember my best friend said, I was talking to her and I said, yeah, because my two sisters, they're the pretty ones of the family, and da, da, da. She said, what? She said, what did you just say? And I said, oh, my sisters, they're the pretty ones. They're the pretty ones of the Roxana's always one of the prettiest of the family, and the dean was the prettiest, and she had the best body, and I was the smart one. And my best friend said, do you know how beautiful you are? You are beautiful. And that probably is one of the first times I really started looking into this. Am I really beautiful? And my bestie will be on this show soon. And you'll see why she's my best friend and how she's helped me on this journey. And I say it's a 5-year journey. This journey started a long time ago. And it started a lot when I met my best friend. And because she helped me see me. She helped me see me. But in that moment, I began to reevaluate my definition of beauty. And I asked God, help me on this. And I found scripture that talked about how God saw us. And I began to use affirmations, which was really Bible verses. So you are beautifully and wonderfully made. I know every hair on your body. Those are the things I started confessing and telling myself, which then gave me confidence in who I was. God looked at me and knew I was beautiful and why I was the way I was in so many different facets, why I had a size 12 foot. It was such a struggle as a young girl, and my feet size was 12. That actually was 10 and a half as a kid. It grew to 12 when I had my first child. I thought I was going to lose it. After I had Ashley, I said, I'll never wear shoes again. I'm going to have to wear sneakers the rest of my life because I didn't believe they even had shoes size 12. And because as a child, size 10, I was a size 10 wide. So it wasn't even a regular size 10. It was a size 10 and a half wide. My mom had to take, and my dad had to take me to this store behind Macy's. It wasn't in Macy's. It was a store behind Macy's that sold wide width shoes. And I would get one a year because they were not cheap shoes. And my parents would get me one shoe a year. And that was the shoe I had. And I wore that shoe, as you could imagine, until it wore out. Because that was where else was I going to get shoes? So and that being said, where was I going to get clothes? It was Graham Avenue. Y'all from Williamsburg, you know what I'm talking about. That's like, for anybody else, 125th Street, where you would go to buy the clothes. On Graham Avenue, they didn't have clothes that fit me. So I literally, as a kid, going to high school, would go into my mom's closet and I would wear my mom's clothes to school. I remember in 11th grade where I had to, actually it was 11th going into 12th grade, and I have stories for you guys. People will mess if you allow people, they will mess your mind up. They will mess your thought process up. And what made me pause was I wore my mom's clothes because I couldn't get clothes out of regular stores, right? So I wore my mom's clothes. And it wasn't until 12th grade, people said, I thought you was Seventh-day Adventist because you always wore dresses and skirts. And I looked at them like in shock because they mentioned that because at that time, when they saw me, I had on a pair of jeans. I probably during from junior to senior year was my coming out, I guess. It was right after I started dating my first boyfriend. He had done enough, and I thank him for bringing my psyche up a little bit, that I was someone to at least worthy of dating, right? So my clothes kind of started changing. I bought, I worked over the summer. I worked over the summer and started buying my own clothes, junior into senior year, high school. So clothing changed. I found clothes that fit me then. I also tried out for the cheerleading team. When I went for cheerleading practice or auditions, they looked at me, once again, tall. I wasn't now here. Let me say I was maybe a size when I started 16, probably a size 16 when it started. When we first went for auditions in this junior year into senior year, senior summer, that summer at the beginning is when auditions for cheerleading and boosters started. When I lined up for the cheerleading, everybody looked at me and said, you need to be a booster. I said, really? People. Okay. But I tried out for the dancers. For the actual cheerleaders. And not only did I make it, I scored the highest of any cheerleader trying out. Yes. So that summer I worked real hard and I lost a lot of weight that summer. So now I bought my own jeans, and my first time showing up at school, that's when they made the comment. Had my own job, had my own money, bought my first pair of jeans. So again, perspective, what people was telling me, who I am. And again, me having to unlearn everything that people had told me and doubted me in terms of my looks, my feet. I'm 5'10". Thank God I had size 12 feet. They held me up in dancing and doing everything I needed to do. That's when you're tall, it comes with bigger feet to hold up your body. Simple. Nobody ever told me that. That's okay. Today, look, when I tell my husband, when I see shoes I like, I'm buying them. Yes, I'm buying shoes I like, because it's an honor to buy shoes now. That's size 12 that fits me. And they're cute. I like cute shoes. So I go to the places that have my size. I don't upset myself and go somewhere that don't have my size. That's one trick. Don't go to a store that don't have your size. You will be frustrated. Go to stores that have your size. Then you're not frustrated trying on clothes or shoes. All right. Don't add to the nonsense of what people and who people say you are. I told myself I am beautiful. And you know what I also did? When I started having my children, I always told them they were beautiful. Every time I got a chance, you are so beautiful. You are so handsome. You are so pretty. I love my kids. All my Ashley, Nicholas, and CJ, they walk with confidence because they know they good looking, they know they pretty, and they know they got it like that. Hello. Because mama told them. And they are beautiful, beautiful individuals. Every one of them. Beautiful individuals. Beautiful and handsome in their own right. With personalities that everyone loves. I love my kids. I love my husband because he, regardless of my reaction to every time he calls me pretty, every time he called me beautiful, it never wavered for him. I am calling and shouting out Lamont Simmons because they ain't nothing like a good man. A good man that loves you. And look, I'm saying that because this man loved me unlike any other person to this day. And he always told me that I was beautiful. Always told me that I was pretty. It did not matter if I had, you know what I'm saying, like this. It didn't matter what he was looking at, me with or without clothes on. I talk about my 3 stomachs. I embrace my 3 stomachs today because my 3 stomachs birthed my 3 children. Actually, my 4 children. Yes, we'll talk about that another day. But my 3 children that are alive with me, they walked this earth and they came out of this stomach. So I am grateful for all the rolls and stuff on my stomach because they represent, you hear me? They represent life. They represent life. So I don't have a problem with that. Hair, my hair is cute. And guess what? One thing I've learned, I could get here and do it anywhere I want to. Yeah. The day I learned about a weave was the day I was set free. I was set free. I was set free because I could. I remember the first day they said, "What? You sew that in?" When weaves came out, it was glue. I said, all you do is glue that in, and I got hit of that. Girl, glue it. Get the glue and glue it in. That day, from this day to that day, I love what? You can do anything. There's weaves, there's wigs, there's crochet, there's anything. You can do anything with your hair these days. I love when people come to you. Is that your hair? Sure is. It's all my hair. It's all my hair. Isn't it? Of course it is. It's my hair. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you no explanation. It's all my hair. And it always will be my hair. Any way I want it. Any way you want it. Any way you want it. However you want to show up. If you want purple hair, green hair, red hair, hair down to the floor, or no hair at all, it is up to you. Up to you. Oh, I remember the first time I met this beautiful woman. And she was beautiful. She was beautiful. This beautiful face. We went on a retreat. Shout out to Women in Power. Shout out to Women in Power. We went on this retreat. And I remember looking at this beautiful woman. And just her face to me lit up. And I walked over to her. It was the first day we all came together for a retreat. It was in Cancun. Dr. D, shout out. And I just saw her face and I thought she was beautiful. And I said, you are so beautiful. Little did I know that was the first time somebody told her she was beautiful. Let me tell you something. We need to celebrate beauty. And we need to understand that beauty looks like so many different things. Beauty is when you see a person and who they are glows from the inside out. And when you see a person like that, everything just glows in them. How they smile, their eyes. Just, I love looking at people. And it's this beauty that I could see just exude out of people. And I love to see it. And it does have nothing to do with color or hair or teeth or eyes or eyebrows or eyelashes. It has nothing to do with those things. It has to do with your pure beauty of who you are. Of who you are. And that's who I fell in love with. I fell in love with Melissa and everything Melissa represents. And in that, and every day when I look at myself in the mirror, I see the beauty. These days, I see my mom in the mirror. I see the beauty. I see Aminta. I see Melissa. I see my teeth. I see my eyebrows. I see everything. And I love it. I love me. I love me. And I embrace me. Fall in love with yourself. Forget what people have said, what people may have done, or who may have ignored you and shunned you. Forget that. Embrace the person you look at in the mirror every day. I dare you to start a list on all the beautiful things about yourself. I dare you to do that list of what makes you beautiful. from your skin color to your eyes, to how you speak, to how you talk. I dare you to make that list and fall in love with that person who you're making that list about. I hope you got something from today. I hope you got and heard some of those nuggets I shared. If you need an affirmation, get one. One of the things I don't do is I don't allow me to talk bad about me anymore. No, I won't. No, I won't. I don't call myself no bad names. I don't. I don't use the S word at all on myself. I don't use the U word on myself. I did, but I don't anymore. And for those friends that may not love this, I got a whole different group of friends now in my life, and they all love me for me. And I'm good. And I wish nothing but good to those that may not be here with me anymore. I wish nothing but good to them. But I don't stay around people that don't talk about me well. I don't hang out with people that don't talk about me well. So, can't talk about me well, can't be around me. Right? Didn't your mama say don't talk about my family? Don't talk about me. You don't have no right to talk about me. You don't know who I am or what I went through. I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. I am snap, snap, all right. Fall in love with yourself. This is Dr. Melissa Simmons, Girl Bossed Up. I'll check you out next time.